There's a lot of complaining about the officiating in the Super Bowl. And then you see John Tortorella, like, he makes a really good point.
Yeah.
Did you see his point?
Well, I didn't watch his point about the officials, but I can see both sides of it. If you're on the side of the officials impacting the game and being a factor, or if you're not, I can wrap my head around both sides.
So here's my point on that. 2 or 3 of the last Blue Jackets games, officiating's come into question, and they've been screwed in each and every one of them. So the media last night, the media after the game said, John, what do you think about this latest? And he's like, I'm just going to wait to hear from the league. Because obviously they weren't going to call him in right after the game before he had his media. And then with the Chiefs last night and the questionable calls there and the pass interference, listen, was pro Brady, but I get where the Chiefs are coming from. Yeah, they had their own problems, their own after-the-play penalties, their own pre-snap penalties that hurt them. But they didn't need the officials jumping on them too. And my point is this. At what point do you go with the officials' side? And I've talked to all those guys at length. They're like, hey, we're not perfect. We're at 97%. I get that. Human beings aren't perfect. But what Tortorella said yesterday, actually it was the second last game, and I've been saying it for years, we have all the technology. So there's no excuse. You take that human element aside. It's black and white when you're slowing it down frame by frame by frame. My point is this. Do we just shrug our shoulders and go, that's football, or that's hockey? Or do we need to continue to put heat on the officiating head offices and the refs themselves, because it is costing games and costing championships? Where I lean towards, you know what, you just got to get over it. But it's very hard when you are the one getting screwed over.
We know that. It's very hard when you're the ones getting screwed over. But you have to get over it. You just have to get over it. And that's a mindset game, right? A mindset game that, you're in control, not external forces. You didn't see really, you saw it a little bit, but Aaron Rodgers wasn't complaining about the officials 2 weeks ago.
No, he didn't say a word.
Didn't say a word. And in the game, his body language wasn't upset about calls. Even if he knew, right, that he was getting screwed. He knew that he can still win the game. Mahomes can still win the game. Once you flip your mind and get to a point where you understand that you control everything and that even the other team doesn't play a factor, or the officials don't play a factor, no matter how bad they are, or how much it seems like, or that they are screwing you over. Once you get your mind there, you'll be in a much better place. But you have to get over it because, it's the bad slippery slope.
Here, I'm glad you brought that up. And the comments coming in are great. Chris Bird in Toronto, how much time do we invest in a game to review calls on the field /ice? They don't have that down yet. When they first brought this in and they were taking 5 minutes to review an icing, I'm changing channels, man, and I'm not coming back. So they got to get that figured out. Mark Zosel says there were a couple questionable calls against the Chiefs, but they shot themselves in the foot with the others. That's the thing. If the Chiefs are blaming anybody but themselves, then and that's what football people do, then they're the ones at fault. The officiating wasn't great, but you need to if you're good enough, you're as good as everybody thinks you are, then you should have been able to come over that or get over that.
If you're going to technology too, then you got to call everything. Everything. So that means everything that they called in the Chiefs was going to get called, and then a whole lot more. And when they say there's holding on every play?
Yeah. There is.
It would be like going through sludge.
So I'm loath to even listen to people bitch about officiating. I'll give coaches and players maybe an hour after the game, but fans, not at all. But it is such a huge part of the game. It's always going to be there. So we can't move on. But I just remember 2003 WHL playoffs. The Pats got screwed hard by the league and the officials against the Brandon Wheat Kings. And I'll bring up some names. Jordan Tutu, Clinton Orr, Josh Harding. Remember these guys? And we lost in a series that was just taken straight away from us. There's no doubt. And Bobby Lowe's was our coach. And months later, we're at the draft in Calgary, downtown at the Keg. the night before the draft, and I'm just ranting and raving and like pounding the table that we got screwed and we split in Brandon. We should have been swept, but we split the first two. We had a chance in that series, and the league took it away. Matt Hubbard and Bobby Lowe's, who's now working for the Golden Knights, literally looked at me and he's like, "You got to get over it, man." And he was the coach. He was our coach, and I couldn't get over it. So all I'm saying is, you can bitch about it for a time, but you just need to get over it for your own peace.
Yeah.
Or you'll carry that to the grave.
And the Tortorella thing, I mean, it was the goal against Carolina, I think, and it was an ice trainee or an arena trainee that made the mistake that led to the goal, and they didn't take it away. You know, I'm hearing now because there's no precedent to take away a goal based on an arena problem. So I understand why Tortorella's upset, but it's tough.
You're watching Rod Pedersen On Demand. For more of The Rod Pedersen Show, visit rodpedersen.com or follow Rod Pedersen on social media.